I'm going to present our work and some of the ideas. I hope they are aligned with the expectation of this conference. I have some experiences. Let me introduce my background and where do I come from. Sorry, it used to happen to me, but so I'm a computer scientist from a research institute in the University of Zaragoza in Spain called BIFI, from Biocomputation and Complex Physics Systems. So we are merging researchers, resource providers, infrastructure providers, and deploying typically infrastructure and science projects. We had some experiences on the volunteer computing environment, and we had successful experiments. We reached about 20 different groups in Spain. So we created also the Ibercivis Foundation, which is a private and non-profit organization funded by the Ministry of Science and hosting the main research centers in Spain. Okay? I forgot to mention that Ibercivis is also a Portuguese project, also supported by the Ministry of Science in Portugal and FCT and Ciencia and other institutions. From the University of Zaragoza, I'm coordinating one European project called Sesantais, which is setting up the basis of the policy programs and policy measures to deploy, to engage more people in the citizen science area. Okay? We are deploying our own experiments and also doing policy recommendation discussions and open debates. So I will present some of the efforts there. Okay? The concept of citizen science is an old-fashioned debate, and there are many understandings on this, but we say that it refers to the general public engagement in scientific research. It means that everybody can contribute on any scientific area, not only dissemination, but doing scientific research, okay? And citizens actively contribute to science, either with the intellectual effort or surrounding knowledge, the tools or resources. That means that we ask people to contribute, analyzing images, providing data and data gathering from their environmental or surrounding area, or even contributing in complex tools, providing also suggesting new ideas for research. It is a concept which is gaining acceptance recently because of many policy programs addressing the different areas. Like I have some ideas here about policy science and society always supported by technologies. Okay? Different derivatives of participation include dissemination in reach and outreach. We are addressing global challenges, and the idea is to promote a paradigm shift towards a more inclusive, participatory, and consciousness participation of the general public in the research activities. I wanted to present here some of the combinations which can be done under the Citizen Science Project. The idea about technologies, I present here the different use cases from the point of view of the users. Okay? Usually we deploy our own infrastructure if needed, large computing and storage infrastructure, but what the users see, they interact via web or with their mobile phones, using social software, sometimes including physical kits or for physical computing. They are using open source, audiovisual, geolocation, and so on. If we want to categorize our experiments, we have different possibilities, no? On science, we have all the different challenges. Society, what we want to address is people to access to knowledge first, to be empowered, to be engaged on their own community from the point of view of the users, to get different education and new long-term learning scenarios, avoid social exclusion, including risk of exclusion groups and so on, addressing more healthy and green science, which can also lead to economic empowerment, a new business scenario. Okay. The idea also about policy is to provide more information about the policy programs, the way they are done, the way they are selected, and so on. And the main challenges at this moment is, as we know, in the Europe 2020 agenda, is the growth. That means employment, it means innovation, education, productivity, social cohesion, and also green climate and energy saving. So I suggest any scientific research project which aims to engage people to try to address more of these dimension on the scenario. Okay? The different models and impacts of citizen science. This is a holistic picture. It's what I am using, what I'm doing in the last 2 years, talking about with a lot of people about a lot of things like this and many events. So I'm having a lot of fun, and this is one of the challenges. There is no one single scenario where all the stakeholders are merged. There are always bilateral meetings between scientific and general public, researchers and scientific communicators, artists and scientists or engineers, but there is missing one single framework. Okay? So we try to engage the more people and the more heterogeneous people on board, which is very complex and complicated also. So what we see here is different models, different kind of participatory experiments. The typical, you see the data analysis, where people also provide experimental data. They gather data and provide new sources for the modeling and the research. We have volunteers providing computing resources. We have communities solving complex projects together and doing collective creativity, and also considered as distributed intelligence, which is a complex concept, and the so-called crowdcrafting, where people also suggest new ideas to work with researchers and new scientific challenges. Okay. How the experiments are done, either online, offline, by professionals, by amateurs, but informal and informal ways. Sometimes you have good methodologies, sometimes it's more experiential and informal approaches. We have ad hoc experiments, and also regular in time, which long for several years, and also local activities and global activities. What we are discussing for our policy recommendation are the different aspects about definition and scope of citizen science, which are the good points and the risk of adopting these solutions. We are discussing how to deploy, how to facilitate in a sustainable way different projects, which is very complicated now. And public funding is an option, but it's getting harder and we have to do more with less money. So we are sharing good experiences and bad experiences about recruitment, motivation, and awareness of the general public. Asking also people for publicly evaluate our work, which is one of the challenges of the European Commission now, to ask for different evaluation on scientific research and also on scientific policy. Who are the stakeholders now? So, from the society point of societal, the general public in general, civic society organization, students, different groups, educational environment is very important for citizen science, and it's very easy to engage them also. And we are also trying to discuss with journalists, scientific communicators, how to involve the general public in our work and to transmit efficiently our ideas. Companies and innovation is also relevant on this for researchers and using. Different museums are arising now, different ways of participation, and what is more challenges for us, from my personal background, is to involve the policymakers on this, and different policy funders at different scales, but because their agenda, I guess, is more complicated, but well. So I wanted to present different profiles of interaction with the general public here. The first is dissemination, when you are forced to do, everybody, when we are paid by public funds, we must explain what to do and how to do it. No? But there, the general public just listen, and many people just forget, just don't care about what we do, right? There are many difficulties here. The communication between researchers and scientific communicators and journalists, and you launch a press release and so on. It's dissemination, it's the traditional dissemination. Outreach also engage the people and explain, try to get them a deeper understanding of what you do, like for instance, workshops of activities at the schools. But it is broadly funded so far. There are many activities for outreach. But for the general public, many times it's seen yet another resource for teaching and so on. Okay, so how to enrich, how to engage people? The first option is to give the power, the tools for the community in order that they analyze, they work however they want, and discuss each other. This is what we call empowerment. This is seen at this moment as a key, very relevant and in need of action in order to improve all our research. People, when are already engaged, can contribute individually with their knowledge and their tools, resources for the research group. And this has seen as the main aspect of citizen science so far as a valuable, a good scenario for scientific engagement, right? And then the more complex is the collaboration, where communities interact with each other, different individuals, and collectively they collaborate with us. The next challenge could be the collective intelligence about how big groups and heterogeneous groups can solve complex projects, complex problems. Sorry. What we are trying to do is connect and complement the power of the computers and the power of the human brain. Wherever computers do not work properly or are not good enough, we have the human power, and whenever one single person is not enough or one scientific community is not good enough, we try to engage different actors. Okay? Now we all know about the potential of the ICT environment, the number of people connected, the technologies, we have billions and billions, and the number is growing every second of people connecting. And the same, we have billions of neurons in our brain connected, and now we are addressing to billions of devices connected. So let's strive. Let's see if this complex scenario is able to solve complex problems. What's the problem now? I'm very positive, and we are going to present different potentials of the citizen science, but now internet is very young. It's like a 20 years old guy, or with problems and the area to be improved. But I want to parallelize the evolution of the natural evolution from the atoms and the molecules to the human evolution and the brain intelligence and the complexity of the universe. You cannot see the picture, sorry. With the evolution of the ICT systems, okay? At the end, what we have is billions of people connected with some physical laws, with some personal interest, and we have to understand this and try to evolve. The good point about increasing the critical mass that we are addressing global creativity easing interaction and reaching the community. And the basis of this interaction are the trust. This is one of the key concepts now, is you have to trust in you. Don't worry about and present your work to others. You have to trust in others. Be ready that millions of people contribute to you, and think differently. Be aware that people is willing to contribute with you. Because people want to do something useful in their daily routine, maybe after the work time, during the weekend, or when they are retired, or where they are in jail or something like that. They want to share their knowledge with others, and they want to feel that they belong to a community. They don't want to be seen like monkeys doing repetitive work. They want to have also intellectual challenges and so on. At this moment, this long-term picture wanted to show that the experts are located in the green part, and the regular people is located in the yellow part. It's time to make use of that scattered knowledge for the science, using the power of the new tools, the ICT, new methods of analysis and engagement, the open paradigm, and the willingness to engage. At the end, that will prove that different approaches and a larger critical mass is going to provide creativity and therefore innovation, both in the privacy and the business models and the scientific organization and policy. I'm going to pass very briefly about some of the ideas behind citizen science. We all know that the relevance of the tool with one spectrometer of light and towards a spectrometer of X-rays. You can do different things with different tools. So the society itself can be seen as an e-infrastructure. People is working every day for little tasks, doing things like the CAPTCHAs, tiny activities, which everybody can do, but computers are not good enough in this case, right? There are many artists already asking for contribution. This is one project from Aaron Koblin in the States, who wanted to remake one video clip from Johnny Cash, asked the community to paint in a virtual canvas for different, each frame of the video clip. And you see down the different frames painted by the people, and you can vote for others, and you have, you can see different possibilities of the video clip. It's just one example of an artistic scenario where collaborative intelligence are providing great solution. I encourage you to see this video clip online. And what else? Linux is one example of collective amateur hacktivism, which is very successful. Half of the mobile phones in the world are running Arduino now. There are tools like Git, which allows you to copy your software, make a branch, and start working on your own solution. 10 years ago, who could think on this, right? Some community or low-profile people sometimes are doing this kind of solution and this kind of innovations. So I wanted to present one of the slides from Enzo Marinari, one of our scientific directors who works with Giorgio Parisi in Roma. What I want to say here is we must, as researchers and in the academia, try to convince the students and the general public that different ways are needed to solve different projects and using different new infrastructure. He said, are we able to give the students to starting their research with the idea that supercomputer tools can change their approach? In this case, I wanted to say, are we thinking that we can address different projects in different ways, having the infrastructure based on citizens' contributions? This is the idea also for the researchers, to think differently. For the same projects, maybe we can do it differently. We know the power of e-science, the big science now, the virtual environments, the transdisciplinary approaches, and so on, and the power of computing to address complex projects. We don't want to beat them. Let me put here, present another metaphor. We always say, if you want to go somewhere to Pisa, either you take a plane or a train or by car, but maybe you want to bring something with you very, very big, or you want to send something to China, so you take the boat. It depends on if you want to spend a lot of money or just a few. You have low budget, maybe there is not an airport, so you must take the camion truck at the end. So for the science, it's the same. We are trying to take the most of existing resources, like empty cars. Say, please, can you write me? Can you bring this to my grandmother in the little town? So, and while you drive and you get into the car, you have different conversation and you get closer to the volunteer, right? This is the idea about citizen science. We are complementing existing resources, different approaches. We're complementing in a different way. Initially, we thought about citizen science like a logistic center where researchers put some, I need this, I have this bunch of tasks, so please provide me the volunteers to work with this. But at the end, the idea is that we are creating a new agora virtually, where people understand when you try to publish or you get rejected your paper, you explain the volunteers. So, no, sorry, we have been rejected. And they ask, how can it be possible? Why have you? This kind of interactions via forums or by emails is happening. It's happening every day. It's very time consuming, but it's very interesting. And also they are suggesting, why don't you do this way, or why don't you research on this disease instead of this one, and so on. So this is how we feel very often when showing the potential and the possibilities of citizen science. Europe, different computing paradigms, different funding programs have large and very established consortium and relevant actors with strict methodologies and very complicated for the general public procedures. We say, okay, I'm thinking about the potential of the openness and the potential of the contribution, and maybe people say, perhaps, let's see what happens, right? We are not one single mouse, we are thousands of people working on that at this moment. So let me get back to the models. I wanted to show up briefly some examples about the different participation models, about volunteer computing, volunteer sensing, thinking, participatory experiments and activities, also not online. So about volunteer computing, we are facing also already exascale. We have millions of people contributing using Boeing, one open source resources, created 15 years ago, more or less, to analyze the extraterrestrial intelligence. But we are doing a lot of complex materials and molecular dynamic simulation and so on. It is very useful, very cheap. We just have some servers in Zaragoza, in Madrid, in Lisbon. Software and so on. Everybody is doing that at home. And it's true that many people just download the software and forget it, but there are people creating their own clusters, there are people improving the software. We have sent different codes and different executables programmed by volunteer people. Unfolding at home, what happened, and that they used the PlayStation 3, for instance, common approach with a private company, with Sony, in order to take the most of the existing resources for gaming. So it is very, very cheap and green computing also. About volunteer sensing, we are asking people to act as a distributed network of sensors. asking them to gather environmental data, but also data which is not possible to collect by physical devices. I present here the Copenhagen wheel, which is one of the, this is deployed by the MIT with the city of Copenhagen. They have created that wheel with a little dynamo and motor that is the way the people is moving around the city, and it is digitally interconnected with the servers and with other riders in order to provide at the end for the people using this wheel are having immediate feedback, as it is easier to ride the wheel, but also immediate feedback about their surrounding and the traffic jams and so on. It has a great potential for the mobility at urban scale. And imagine also the potential of the Internet of the Things here, Google Glasses and so on, okay? What can be done for science with all those new devices? I wanted to present one example of project we are hosting now. We are asking people to provide us the symptoms about the influenza in order to analyze and predict the flu at European scale. What happened is that the data from the medical institution is not compatible, not standard in different countries, have different formats and so on, and it's difficult to analyze it. So we are asking, and we are in this network we have like 50,000 people in different countries in Europe and growing worldwide. So we are having a lot of different feedback from the people, asking what happens with the symptom. Do you really believe on what the people say? In Spain, we don't have an analysis of blood. Whenever you go to the doctor, he just analyzes your symptoms and says if you have the flu. So we have the same. Statistically, it's very easy to understand and validate the data from the citizens. And we are, besides this example, we were discussing before different approaches to odor, and like having an electrical nose is very complicated. We are asking people to give us the odor. We are asking about the comfort, which is very easy for the thermometers and the humidity sensors about determining if one room is comfortable or not. We are asking differently for the background of the people in order to provide immediate feedback about the energy saving tips and so on. Different examples are the volunteer thinking, very known is Galaxy Zoo, analyzing images. We have deployed our own experiment helping our researchers to analyze the status of stem cells, asking them if the volunteers think that its cell is alive or is dead by apoptosis or necrosis. The idea, one of the things I like most here is the educational environment around that. We have, today we are starting in Japan with this experiment. We have contacts, we have already started also in jail in Spain with different prisoners who want to contribute. So we set up a local server and asking people to do whatever they think they are watching. It's very easy. From the prisoner's point of view, it's very important that we create a kind of diploma saying whoever has contributed in this project has these skills, because whenever most of the prisoners are thinking on their own affairs after jail, but some of the prisoners are willing to prove that they want to do something different in life, and they need a formal recognition that they can contribute to society. They re-engage again with the learning scenario using new technologies and so on. I'm very proud of the prisoners' scenario. Volunteer thinking is very famous. The Folded and the AIDS publication in Nature, people are providing different ways of folding and interacting proteins in order to solve the puzzle. based on the energy of the system and so on. Now people are learning a lot about the molecular dynamics and so on, and some companies are already engaging the best performers in this game. So it's another example. We are asking, this is deployed also under the Sacentize project, we are asking people to provide what they have within their brain, whatever typical experiments sociologists or medical, which are usually done in a wide laboratory with no disruptions, and you have a lot of sensor and you check what do you have in mind, how do you react to this stimulus. We are doing broadly and for a lot of people in real time at the same time, and we have deployed one game asking people how to link concepts. We are trying to improve the semantics analysis, so we are using one matrix of words connected and provided in typical psycholinguistic experiments, and we are asking people to go from jail to party, for instance. Jail has a certain number of words related with them, so people are clicking on the neighborhoods and the neighbors' words. From jail, I went to bars, to clubs, to dance, to music, and from music you can get directly party. This way, we are trying to analyze the mental parts or the mind parts of the people, asking for something which is not very strict or controlled, and is not very controlled as other experiments. But the number of volunteers we have so far here, and we are going to launch the Facebook application very soon. We have already thousands of paths for the same words, which is very useful. Another kind of participation in citizen science, we are, as part of some of the FED projects, we deployed a couple of years ago one prisoner's dilemma experiment run over 1,300 students in our region, in Aragon. And we asked people to play in real time during a couple of hours to the prisoner's dilemma, running with real money and real incentivization. And we asked them, do you want to contribute or not contribute, cooperate or not cooperate, and so on. It was a very good success. We said nothing before the experiment, but after the experiment, we are running this experiment in different cities and different backgrounds of people, and we are now expanding the number of games. So it's again a kind of contribution where we ask people, you have to play as you feel it, but you have to know that this is a scientific research experiment. And they are happy, the students usually and the teacher are really, really happy with this kind of participation. Moreover, they earn real money, which is a nightmare for the organization, but it's... another kind of participation is the local communities and hackathons and so on. And I wanted to show up one of the hackathons we had in Madrid some months ago. We wanted people to create different spectrometers, thinking in water analysis. At the end, we went we downloaded one kit, as you can see, from publiclabs.org. It's very easy. With scissors, you prepare your own spectrometer and a DVD minus error, and you get the picture on that. Okay. Nothing scientific, no scientific results came there, but the number of people working around this about these issues is very important. So to sum up, what I feel, there are many outcomes on these participatory experiments. We call them sometimes little science. We don't need big experiments. We just need the resources you have in your hand, or you have it in your desktop. Educational, I used to say this sentence, for me the best way of engage and to learn about science, doing science, real science, not doing party or going to a museum and say, wow, this is wonderful. Yeah, just do it and feel that you are part, you are not only a subject, you are an active part of the science, of the scientific research. About economy, one of the potential, and it is now important for the policy and the funding programs, we are not asking for big money, for big infrastructure, we are asking for low-cost science. We ask people to contribute with their existing resources. It's true that some people buy and spend thousands of euros in the bill having clusters at the home in order to get the more GPU power or CPU power to compete with others, but usually the people connect sometimes, play a little bit, and move to another experiment. It doesn't requires a big investment on their part. We are in order to be attractive for the people. We must do an important effort in the communication and the design of our experiments, our tools. We use to share the publication and the LaTeX document, but in general we perform audiovisual, we have some talks, and so on. We ask artists and designers many times to do participatory performances, also to get the people a different feeling about science. Remove the white dress and be different, saying, we are doing great things and we are happy with what we do. So feel things. At the end, the outcome is very important, the social part, that people believe they are part of one community. Maybe one person is has a problem of other in their community, in their neighborhood, and while participating in these experiments, they realize there are more people like them, okay? And it is very important. And also, when you start talking about research, at the end, it comes the question why you are funded, why you are not funded, how does it work, and so on. And it's a challenge for us as researchers and also for the policy, for the European Commission, how to get involved in the general public. And it also goes in this line. Okay. I wanted to show some of the reluctance and some of the comments that used to arise in this kind of workshops. Are you following the scientific methodology? Are you providing reproducible data and so on? Sometimes we do, when we share everything, because the volunteers want to have the data also provided by them, so everybody can do it. But sometimes we are just doing informal approaches in order to combine some of that. At the end, it's very easy to validate the data provided by citizens, despite they are not experts. Statistics, duplication of results, you send 500 times the same cell picture to the people. At the end, you have an agreement on that, and you can do also, of course, at the end, adult validations, and there are a certain number of the data. As researchers, you don't have to analyze everything. One of the challenges from the researcher's point of view is what do I earn from the community? I just providing, and the volunteers also have that feeling, no? Where is the reciprocity? What do we? So, the first thing is you improve your dissemination, you get more ego, and you have more social recognition on that, and people get interested on your work. And the volunteers have a lot of potential. Many people say that we are too optimistic about the power of the collective intelligence and so on. We are running with ICT. One of the problems, one of the things that I have a lot of passion about my research work, but is the people going to be interested in my work or not? So feel free, don't worry. There is a lot of people interested in many things. There is the long tail of volunteers ready to collaborate in your work. Also, how many people will really engage? Because it is proved that most 80% of the people just click 3 times in your experiment and move to another things. But at the end, the people who remains working on that is providing useful, the 80% of the useful work. So it's important. Many people have fear that someday all my volunteers will disappear, will just go to another thing. At the end, our experience in all the projects we have is that you have a stable number of volunteers. What you have to remain them and to stay alive is to provide constant feedback, to be honest on your work and explain everything and show your passion and ask them to share their passion too. Okay. A lot of people about volunteer session ask, but it is not ubiquity and what happens in the third world and so on. We are growing at global scale now. The 4G and so on network is going better. One thing is not really solved yet is the property of results. What happens when you want to publish and you have to hide the result for a little time? What happens when companies work with you and so on? What is happening now most usually is that in your publication you just acknowledge volunteers and nobody complains. If someday we have the cure of cancer thanks to the computer of one guy, let's see what happens, no? With the patent. But at the end, the incentive of the people, what you have to do is to create community. Instead of having great computers, you have community. I wanted to, let me finish with one of the songs from the Beatles several years ago about revolution. I have left some pieces of the green paper on citizen science. We are creating the white paper during the next semester to be published this year, and we are doing also a compilation of policy recommendation. What we had last year was an important result for me was that we didn't achieve to do policy recommendation. Instead, we had general recommendation. We asked the general public to say, what do you want Europe to do with you? What do you want Europe to do with science? And from the Commission, they say, okay, you have to refine, you have to improve the green paper and create the white paper. But so far, the general public is not providing policy recommendation. They're just general. I said, yeah, it's one of the parts that we are showing up the complexity of policy. No? So I encourage you to contribute here, and I can present you some of the recommendations later. So thank you.